Still, like, I felt like something was missing in Transformers. I couldn't exactly explain it, but I could sense it even then. I felt like it was like a movie for pretentious people. Then I watched the movie and immediately took back everything I thought about the film. Hi, my name is Shree, and let's waste some time together. So before I start off this video or anything else, I just want to say a happy 2022. This past year was a lot of ups and downs for you, for me, for all of us throughout this entire world. It's just some of us lost our jobs, some of us lost our loved ones. It was a very difficult period, but a few things that happened, a few good things that happened was A, holy shit, we're still alive. B, I got to, I got my old love for movies back because I got tons of free time. And C, I got to meet this amazing film community online. I didn't think it was possible for me to gain 1,000 subscribers in like such a short period of time, but it happened, and all movie fans no less. So in the spirit of our shared love for movies, I wanted to end this year not with a reaction, but with a personal video where I share my top 5 favorite films of all time. This was a tough list to make because, well, I have more than 5 favorite films. I know, crazy idea. But I wanted to just highlight 5 films because, these are the 5 films that I think about the most, that I have, talked about on this channel and with my friends, that I replay clips off on YouTube whenever I'm bored, and that have made like a cultural and technical impact on me as like a fan of film and as someone who wants to share my own novels and movies with you someday, I hope. So without further ado, these are my top 5 favorite movies of all time. Number 5, Pacific Rim. Now, this movie may seem a little odd because it's essentially just giant robots fighting giant monsters, but just like Star Wars blew people away in the 70s, Transformers blew us away when it came out when I was a teenager. Still, I felt like something was missing in Transformers. I couldn't exactly explain it, but I could sense it even then. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, it just had the potential. Then came along Pacific Rim, directed by Guillermo del Toro, whom I was a fan of since Hellboy, and he captured exactly the magic that I felt was missing in Transformers. The size, the heft, the strength, the noise these machines make that were like the size of the Empire State Building, the look of the film, everything, from the characters that were the heart of the story, that were the heart of these machines, that they were essentially writing these machines, if you remember, and the sound design of the film to the look of the film, everything was just, it was like the best theater experience of my life. What can I say? A girl can't resist giant monsters fighting each other. Number 4, Citizen Kane. Now, I know what you're thinking. I felt the same once. When a movie gets overhyped as the greatest of all time, I felt like it was like a movie for pretentious people. Then I watched the movie and immediately took back everything I thought about the film. First of all, I have to say it's amazing that I was able to relate to a film that's 80 years old. And not only that, it perfectly captured this celebrity culture that exists to this day, the celebrity worship culture. You know what I'm talking about when we talk about the Kardashians or any other Marvel fan or a music a superstar. Charles Kane was the biggest influencer of his time, the Kylie Jenner of the 40s, and just like Kylie Jenner, no one really knew who Kane was personally. It was always just the hype that surrounded him. Not only that, but the way this movie was filmed, the shots from below, the shots of people talking about him when he's not around or when he's far away, the way everything looked, it was just brilliant. And not only that, it had this great underlying message of how capitalist greed and nepotism and this gaudy wealth, gaudy showy wealth can make a person really empty and hollow and lonely. So I think it was it was really a fantastic story, and yeah, definitely rewatchable from time to time. Number 3, Parasite. When I was forced to read Shakespeare during my bachelor's degree, I looked at it and I thought, you know what, this kind of like complex mixture of like themes and genres would be really hard to pull off in movies. Like a comedy is a comedy, action is action. Maybe there's a blend of the two from time to time, but that's about it. But Parasite is as close to Shakespearean as we could get. It's equal parts comedy and drama, action and horror, a great dialogue about class divide, nature versus nurture, not to mention like the witty dialogue and the cleverly written characters. And with a script that tight, Parasite is a masterpiece in my opinion and one of my favorite films of all time. Number 2, Malamal Weekly. I don't think there's another movie that perfectly captures the lack of pretentiousness and the simplicity of life amongst rural Indians like the way this movie does. Equal parts hilarious and emotional. This one is a personal favorite of mine because I kind of grew up with this film, but at the same time, it like perfectly captures the wholesomeness and chaos that ensues in like a small Indian town, not to mention the politics and like the poor people just trying to get by. The story inherently is like quite simple. A lottery ticket seller who's like the only guy that went to college in that town sells like the jackpot to the jackpot ticket to one of the people in the town who won like $100,000. And when he went to congratulate this guy, and maybe get a fat commission, he finds the guy dead from extreme happiness. Yep. I don't think anyone in this town knows what to do with $100,000 or a dead body, and slowly but surely, one by one, everyone in this small town gets in on the scheme of trying to hide the body and win the winning amount of the lottery. This movie is so hilarious and it has so many bits that every time it's on TV, I watch it to the very end. It's a personal favorite of mine and I love it so much. Okay, so I know I said 5 favorite movies, but I feel like this list would be incomplete without a few honorable mentions. So here are 3 before we get to number 1. 1 is definitely The Raid. The action scenes are unbelievable. The choreography is something I've never seen in any other movie before. Another is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I have never seen editing done this tightly before in any movie. Every frame of every scene had something to offer, which made Edgar Wright an instant favorite of mine. And lastly, I gotta mention The Platform. This Spanish film was like the perfect metaphor for why a utopia where people share things with each other doesn't work, and why people on top are always greedy and leave nothing for the ones below. These are just 3 movies I had to add in because of the impact they made on me, so let's move along. Number 1, Memories of Murder. I think you can sense a pattern that I love Bong Joon-ho. If Parasite captured the Shakespearean elements on screen, this one perfectly captures what a theater play is supposed to look like on screen. Many fans compare it to the American film Zodiac, but this one actually came years before Zodiac and is also based on a true story in South Korea. What are the odds? Absolutely mesmerizing to look at, from the way the scenes were shot to the banter and the dialogue. Everything was just absolutely enjoyable. Also, throughout this film, I had this sense of claustrophobia where I felt like the walls were closing in around me and the characters. I love this movie so much, and whenever I get the time, whenever I'm bored, I rewatch clips of this film on YouTube whenever I can. So there you go. Those are my top 5 favorite films of all time. What are your favorite films? Leave in the comments below and let's have a discussion. I hope you have a wonderful 2022 and stick around, subscribe, hit the bell, because I've got a ton of films that I'm gonna react to from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. I am so excited. It's gonna be a wonderful year ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I didn't waste your time. See you next year.